on the banner, and then you can click on 316. So we want to brainstorm in terms of your CSCL lessons. And again, we've talked a lot about pooled data analysis. That was the emphasis there on spreadsheets in terms of being able to get data in, being able to graph it, being able to interpret it, the emphasis on forms and curve fit and that kind of stuff. Another one here that we haven't talked as much about is collaborative resource development, and then the real-time formative assessment. So these three different components. But what I'd like to think right now is let's just try to do a brainstorm in terms of what your CSCL lessons are going to be. So let's go ahead and click right up here. Click on, we're going to click on 3.2. I'm just going to copy your names here, and we're going to start a new one, 3.9. So make sure you're on 3.9. And I want you to think about what your CSCL number 1 is, CSCL number 2, and just put the topic, the general topic, so we can, just like, you know, one word or a phrase or something like this. So we know kind of what the lessons are going to be. Which one was that? Was that?
Where the making a shape with the dash geo pictures.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. What you got?
Okay, good. So we got.
What about my shopping trip to the grocery store? Right, yeah, I'm taking a field trip. I didn't realize that. I like that. As long as
I wrote a collaborative webcast, and then where I was like, here's the question, and I did turn on Google Classroom, and I looked on something, and I was like, the first person who gives me an article that answers this gets a point, but then I like gave points also for.
What is Lexile levels?
Reading level.
Oh. Okay. Okay. I haven't heard of that term before, Lexile. That makes sense. I mean, I just hadn't heard of it. Okay.
It's a Japanese.
What's that? Okay. Right. Yeah. Lexicon decile is obviously what it means. Like, so it's probably breaking it into tense and so on.
For this whole project, it's something we can do like we've done here, where everyone gives data of some
Right.
sort.
Exactly. So let's start to. Okay, let's start to look at some of these things right here. I'm just going to pick different ones from different individuals, and we'll start to dialogue about what they are. So let's start to look here. We talked about shoe friction last time, and a little bit about Desmos. Krista, what are you doing with Desmos?
I haven't thought that far into it yet. I know I want to do something with Desmos. I'm not sure yet. With graphing, character also. So I like the ones that they have in editor sticks.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about doing something with that, but I haven't worked on it detail.
Which sticks?
Huh?
What sticks did you say?
Desmos?
How big says about sticks?
Sticks?
So they're doing the graphing. They're coming up with pictures that they're defining their pictures by equations, right?
Yeah.
So now, is there any way you can do, you know, like that, either the real-time formative assessment, the collaborative resource development, or the, you know, the collaborative, you know, pool data analysis with that?
I think so. Pretty much everything in my classes are done in groups,
Mhm.
so it'll definitely be collaborative.
So can you have multiple people working on the same graph with Desmos?
I will have to
No.
investigate with that.
Yeah, you can.
They can sign up with an account though. Are you sure they can sign into the same one?
You can't have two users in the same account.
Can't be editing the
Okay, it can't be editing the same thing. So it could
It
be,
might be like something like that I have them do, and then afterwards there's a collaborative aspect.
okay, so they're going to do a collaborative aspect of maybe presenting their work into some kind of collaborative presentation or something like that.
Yeah.
Eileen, how about river water levels and flooding?
I mean, we talk, I teach ancient history and we talk about like river valleys and where they settled and how there's a pattern to it. So something like that. I did an assignment, but we did it on paper, where they had like data for the Nile.
Mhm.
And they had to then make a graph out of it and then analyze and make a prediction for the following year and make preparations and stuff. And they
So it was real data from,
no, it was like made up data.
okay,
Yeah, using the Nilometer, which is what they use to measure like the water level.
okay.
So we talked about like consistency, like measuring from the same spot on the river throughout the year, and then they had 2 years worth of data. They graphed it out, so it was a double line graph,
Mhm.
and then they had to analyze and have a speech ready for the pharaoh, advising what to do for the next year. So I don't know, something about that, or maybe even rivers like China, Mesopotamia, Nile.
Okay, good. Okay, how about George, zones of regulation?
I don't know if it's gonna be possible. I'm gonna try to fit it into what I actually do. Anyways, right, I go into different classrooms and we talk about different emotions and we sort of match them up with different colors.
Mhm.
So we have like green is good, yellow is warning, red is bad, blue is like cooler emotions, and I have these pictures that they print out and then they discuss and they actually include them on the
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out how to bring that from the cardboard or the poster board into this environment. I'm not quite sure how to do that.
Okay, so let's just do a simple activity here. It may not, it's unrelated to what you're doing, but there may be some kind of carryover, and it might give some other people ideas. Click back on today's agenda here, and we're going to look on 3.9, and let's look at number 5, which says presentations and organizers, okay? Okay, click on this one, which is constructing a periodic table, okay? Constructing a periodic table. We haven't done this before, have we? Okay,
No.
so now there's a periodic table right there behind Jason. That's the one that most people know and love and so forth, or hate. But it's illustrating, the positions of the elements in the periodic table, okay?
Representation of the
Yeah. Now we're going to have students construct this, and I want to see if there's any kind of carryover to what George is talking about. 2 totally different concepts, but their technology may be usable. Click here where it says construct a periodic table using color chips. Right? Okay, great. I wanted you to have permissions, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show the revision history, and I'm going to go back here to my original, so you're not tainted by everybody else's work and so forth on this. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say click and restore. Okay, so now we're back to original, what? Okay.
Yeah, doing the colors and the shades.
Right, okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay, so we did this,
Yeah, we did this last semester.
I did.
I
didn't
don't
have
remember this.
But let's revisit.
okay, let's revisit it. So,
I didn't.
okay, so I'm going to, some people
We
are,
did, we did in your other class.
No, we did it last year too. We did it.
yeah, this one I think we did, but let me just,
I did not do it.
okay, let's just go to 695.
We did it.
It's the
Okay.
third weekend on his class last semester, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty early on. We did this here. This is a collaborative document development. Okay, so take a look at your Gmail. Okay. Now we're just going to do just a real brief on this one, because I think we have done this. So how many people remember this?
Yeah.
Okay, so some number of people remember this.
I would not send that thing.
Oh, your real point in teaching it to them was the business with the collaborative slides. You weren't
Right.
emphasizing the periodic tables.
Right. So here, the idea is that for them to understand that the periodic table is actually predictable, that there's some periodicity to it. So you may remember when we did this, each group chose a slide, okay? So let's just do that again, just so we can get the hang of it. Okay, so every group of 2 people, just you guys will be slide 2. You guys will 2 next to you will be slide 3. Kurt, you can be on slide 3. Okay, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. Okay.
You're part of 6.
Okay, you're part of 6. Now, just start taking those tabs on your particular slide and start arranging them in some kind of a logical array. Okay, you're on 2.
Oh, we're on 4, guys.
You're on 4. You're on 4. They're on 2, 3. Okay. You're 5 then.
You told us to.
Okay.
We are on 4.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
already
exactly.
started done.
Ours is done, number 7.
Are you see?
Oh, wait. I didn't undo enough of them all the way back then, apparently. Here, I'll tell you what you're going to do is I'm just going to create some more. Okay, hold it.
But I'm already on. I already have.
Okay. Okay, look at your new slide numbers because some of them are already kind of populated. I'll just delete the populated ones, okay?
I'll kill it.
Body, get off our slide.
Number 4.
There's no.
Your name is on it.
I typed it.
Hey, yeah, like.
Okay, we're on one slide of my own business.
I don't know what slide.
Our slide's gone.
Okay,
This exact same thing happens to me on my phone.
yeah, well, I didn't have it all the way prepared.
Every single slide.
Except my 6th graders are much
Why
nicer.
are you on all the slides, guys? Your name is on every
Okay.
single slide.
2, oh, that's because I just replicated because, okay, just change the names. Just look at your number, that's all you need to do. Change your number. Sorry.
Okay.
It is now.
Okay, he copied our slide in all fairness.
Yeah,
Yeah, it matters if the teacher has this ready in advance.
Right,
So
so.
are we doing this?
Yeah, I'm gonna change ours to boldface here. No, it's us. That's us. Okay.
Just move it here. Okay, we're done.
There you go.
Does it make sense what I'm doing?
That's pretty funny because he copied the one slide that I had blue with our name.
So we're sorting the colors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's blue. That's 7. That's 6. Four.
Are you doing green?
Yeah.
Okay, so
And it's something.
oh, this is blue,
Last
so
time they
that's
did,
not-
yeah, that's blue.
Yeah.
Like your earth ones are the reds.
better get going.
I want that, I want to give it to my students.
Okay.
Oh, the color thing's
Yeah,
actually
all
really
the
nice.
reds should be the first for the top, yeah.
I think you're with me. It was green.
I don't know.
Do you want to?
Oh, yeah.
How you do red or something?
Okay, time's up, all right?
Ah,
Now most of you probably recall doing this before, right? Okay, do you see the idea that this is you're trying to construct something, you can have multiple people on the same page and you can have multiple pages, so they can all be working something. Now, I don't know if this relates to what George is talking about, because he's doing stuff with cardboard and colors and so forth, but the idea is that you can create grids or templates on here that they can actually work with. I'm going to give you another example of this, and the point is it can all be in one location. So rather than working with cardboard and so forth, they're actually working online. They're dragging colors around and so forth. So maybe it's accomplishing what you want.
Let me just ask, so basically what there's like all, maybe 40 different faces.
Mhm.
And with different gradations of the motion. So I could actually see doing that and shrinking them down. But what I'm wondering, how do you, so you just do, you just got all these different colored boxes and you just replicate it.
I just replicated. So what I did is, you notice that some people made the comment, they said, oh, my slide's already done. So then I just simply copied, I happened to end up copying somebody's slide over multiple times to start it again, which is what the confusion was. But the idea is that you just take a slide here. So I'm just going to look at this here, okay, and I can undo this. I can just say again, go to File Revision History. And if I go back to the very beginning one, okay, hopefully right here, I'll restore that version. Now they're all clean to go for the next period. See, now they're all blank again, okay? So they're all ready to go. So what you can do, let's say you chose Sorry about that. I was just illustrating the fact that I can clean my sheet before next period. I could save it too, but here's the idea here. Let's say that we have, I'll put there emoticons, okay? Because what you essentially are talking about are emoticons, all right? So let's say George takes pictures like this and he puts them on the side here, okay, like so, all right? So he's just going to go through emoticons. And then he puts them on the side here. Now, let's say that each student has their emoticons, all right? Once you've just copy and paste. And so what's that?
I didn't know that when you did a screenshot, you could do that.
Command Shift 4, copy paste right into any of the Google Docs. So, yeah. Well, that's why we do this stuff, because we start learning quicker ways to do it. So like the reason I didn't copy the whole thing is because now these are draggable. See, if I copied the entire setup here, okay, like these ones right here, they're all going to go. I'm just hitting the control key down there, and now you can see when they come in, they're going to come in as a single unit, so a student can't select one at a time. Yeah, basically Command V, Command C, Command V. Try it right now yourself. Just type in emoticons, okay, and put your emoticons on the sheet. Yeah, it does.
Well,
Control C, Control V.
no, but
No,
he's doing a little screen cap.
Can't do that.
Funny.
Yes, you
yes,
can,
you
it's called
can.
snippet.
No,
What is a snipping tool?
it depends.
Yeah.
If you have a Windows button on your thing, you press that and print screen, and once you do that, you take a screenshot and then you can paste it anywhere else,
Yeah,
wherever
but-
you just screenshot it.
But
Yeah,
if
but
you
you
use
can't
snipping
do
tool,
what he
you
did.
can just do the little tiny box.
You can do a tiny box in Windows.
Yes,
Yes.
snipping tool.
With the Chromebook,
Where's that?
control shift
Or
on
you can
the
take-
top.
Yeah.
Take it
You
into
can
Paint.
choose.
You don't even have
They
to do
usually do it in
paint.
Photoshop.
You don't have to do any of that.
When I
It's-
do the
What, do you have
screenshot,
yours?
it goes
Or
automatically.
that's
to
all
the
I'm
desktop.
saying.
I have mine in case
Yeah,
you
okay.
need it.
Okay, good question.
Mine's didn't work.
On the Macintosh, when you're doing the screenshot, if I hit Command Shift 4, I hold down the control key after hitting Command Shift 4, and then when I drag over it, it saves it to the desktop. So then I can just come over here and I can paste it right in there.
Okay, wait.
You don't need to save it to the desktop. You just simply hold the control key down, Command Shift 4, drag over something, hold the control key down, and then you can paste it in because it's in the clipboard.
That was so clean.
You go to, wait, so,
You just copy. It's-
You're copy and paste, but you have to hold the control key down, otherwise it'll save it to the,
The trick is.
I don't think mine worked.
Wait, so if you paste it with.
Is it-
What's that?
Paste it in, does it do?
I'm still using Snip.
well, you have to hold the control key down when you're taking a portion out. Like this is a big graphic, so I'm doing Command Shift 4. I don't want the entire thing. I want just that.
So I should have partial screen, okay.
Partial screen capture, but it's going to the clipboard rather than to the desktop.
It makes your screen break,
And then you go to that.
and then you just do that.
Okay, when you do Command Shift 4,
Yeah, see,
okay, then hold the control key down, and when you hold the control key down, then it's actually saved in the clipboard. So when you come back here, it pastes in.
So you're inserting.
Yeah, Command V.
Okay.
Okay, Command C, Command V. That make sense? But you have to hold the control key down. Like if I
Take the screenshot and then you hit the control.
Right, okay, no, actually, Command Shift 4, then you hold the control key down so that when you're done, it stays in the clipboard. Make sense?
And then you go to,
Then you just pay, then Command V,
oh, okay, got it.
okay? Practice with that because it's really useful for creating, yeah, no, it's, this is,
That will save me time. You have it on 7?
Paying $75 a night to be in this class, folks. You get your money's worth.
Yeah.
Everybody has to.
Or is it
I feel like I'm getting a good deal.
I think it's 75.
no, I don't think so.
10,000 for 2 years.
I'll do the math, okay? Okay,
I have a question about last time since we're talking.
yeah.
I took a sphere.
Mhm.
I managed to get the app working on my phone because it downloaded. And then I took a sphere of my living room, and my wife didn't want me to use it, so I took a sphere of the classroom.
Mhm.
Now I have it works great on my phone. But what can I have on my Google site so I can put it there and people can take a virtual tour of my classroom?
I don't know,
Okay.
but you're going to tell me.
Okay. I'm still researching it.
Okay.
The other day, didn't you?
On the
You-
phone it works.
No, but you did it on, somebody uploaded it, you clicked on your screen and you were doing it.
Oh, yeah, you have to put it in Google Images, Google Photos, it should work. Put it in Google Photos, because it should
Google
handle it.
Photos, but I want it to be displayed on my site.
Then put a window,
iFrame?
yeah, and you should be able to do it that way. iFrame, or simply, I know you can do it in Google Photos, but I don't know if you can insert it into a page.
So Google Photos, it would work.
Right, right,
I'm gonna have to figure it out, okay, I'll try. I'll
Okay.
try with this one.
okay.
And I confiscated a box of Tic Tacs. I took a picture, put it on the display, I asked everyone to Google the ingredients. I
Cool.
said, look how bad this stuff is. There's glue, stuff like that. No, it's not just sugar. There's no sugar in it. It's like corn syrup and glue and glue.
I used to eat cakes at school.
All right, now, let me just, okay, does everyone get this, I'm surprised I didn't ever show you this before, but it's a very useful type of technique for making quick graphics like this. You just cut things out of things. Like in this case, for George's case, it could probably be useful. George, is this what you're thinking? And they can just simply say, I'd like to drag this over to thing. Now, here's, yeah,
I was gonna say, I've been using something like this for, like when I do online, simulations with them. So instead of them just like explaining what they did in the simulation, I'll actually have them take a screenshot of a portion of their screen and paste it right into their Google Doc.
okay.
So instead of smiley faces, where I can actually see exactly
Well,
what they accomplished.
and exactly, this is also what Crystal would do with doing Desmos, okay? You do the screen capture, just pop it in, but the thing is, by holding down the control key, or,
They don't need the whole screen, it's just a select.
right, just a portion of it. You don't need the entire screen, you just need a portion of the screen, and you don't have to save it to the desktop, you can just insert it. Now I'm gonna show you one other trick here, okay, with a different activity which is similar to this, but meanwhile, to get rid of this, I simply just go File, see Revision History, and again, just go back to the original, and at this point, I can restore it, and I get rid of all those emoticons. So you can clean up something, and that way you don't have to have multiple documents for every period. If it's something you don't really need to keep, you don't need to. You know, you can get rid of it. Now, if you click back on, if you click back on today's thing on number 5, I'm gonna do another one which is probably appropriate for both what Crystal was talking about in terms of creating these stuff on Desmos, picturing it, and then throwing it into some kind of collaborative presentation so you can have it running in the background on open house night or something. Okay, click on atoms, ions, and isotopes. Click on atoms, ions, and isotopes. Okay, I realize that you're not all of you are chemists, but that doesn't really matter for this one. Then when you, this next one, I don't think you'll be able to open unless I click on this, but this is the activity. All of your activities should be housed in a web page. Remember that. In other words, you have a website which is descriptive that anybody should be able to follow. That's key. So all your 3 should be that way. When I click on open atoms, and isotopes, and ions, and so forth right here, I'm going to share this with you. You say click on this, and I'll say share with 695G. All right, and now you should all be able to be editors of that as well. Just a second here. All right, now this was developed actually. The concept of this is to try to teach how ionization, you know, how to what's an isotope, what's an ion, and so forth, and what's an atom. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say show revision history here. So I'm going to go back in time to when I first created this. or actually looks like,
I bet your students created this at your beginning.
no, actually, yeah, they, one of them did. I thought that this is my version of it.
Look at this genius.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna duplicate. Let's go down to, okay, I'm just gonna delete some of these first cells here, so that's another way of doing this. And hydrogen, sorry, I'm just trying to, oxygen. Okay, so I have 3 elements here. Okay, what'd you say?
Every time you go to this slide, my face.
Okay, now, okay, what I'd like you to do here is, let's say I was teaching the concept of an atom. So for example, let's say on slide number 2 here, we're now at fluorine. Okay, so fluorine is element number 9, and element number 9 means that it has 9 protons. So what we can do is that where do the protons exist? Okay,
In the middle.
okay, they exist right here. So I can take that and I can just say, when they're in there, I can say copy, and you notice that these are all stacked up, so I can just keep dragging them. What's that? Right, so we have protons, and then if there's 9 protons, there's also what? 9 neutrons if it's,
If
Yeah.
it's that, I see.
okay. Now I'd like you to go ahead and just on the other 2, just drag them, just so you can start to see what's going on. I want you to notice why this is significant for George's request.
We're making a copy of this. I'm sorry.
You're just dragging, just move around, move the electrons and protons. I'm not really caring about the chemistry now, just the concept.
On any slide?
What's that? Just do it on slide 2, just so we're all in the same place, or you can do other slides, that's fine.
Then
Okay, now you're getting the idea. What do you notice about this that may be significant for what George is doing? Okay, first of all, how many pluses are there?
a lot.
There's a whole stack. I put a whole bunch of, stacked them all up on the same place. So it's like it's a reservoir of pluses, a reservoir of minuses, a reservoir of neutrons, right? So we can drag them wherever we want it. We could have a reservoir of emoticons, so that you could have all these emoticons and you could have like 10 smiley faces and just keep dragging them off to try to represent something. Now, but also notice, can you move the actual rings themselves, like here? Okay, why not?
Pasted it
That's a good question.
What's that?
You pasted it as-
Oh, no, because the background's JPEG. Hence, on that.
You made the background.
Okay, but the image you should still be able to drag, right?
Not as the background.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're doing right here is that I'd like you to figure out how to do a background image so that you could create like a template on which people can draw. Do you get the idea? So what you're looking there is to how do you freeze the background?
You can do that like with the spreadsheets.
Mm-hmm.
Spreadsheets you can do it. This doesn't have fine grained freezing.
So
Yeah, but you can block one thing.
on this one, so when we're looking for this, okay, that where do you define the background?
Yes, right now.
Right,
Change
click.
background. Got it.
Under health.
And then change
Slide,
background.
That's
Okay,
how.
okay. Now, the reason why this is significant is you create a nice background image. Let's say George has this chart and he wants the students to draw like each day of the week and they're dragging their emoticons on and so forth. What's going on? You can create the calendar as a JPEG, throw it in there to the background. And the way you're going to do that is say insert what? Where to go, actually?
It's in the middle of the slide itself.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta go there. There you go.
Yeah, click on it, right click, and then say change background.
Yeah.
All right. So for this is actually, what that is makes these things a whole lot more useful because you have a background. If you don't have a background, then everything is free form. But the point is sometimes we want to create some kind of a grid. And we want to be able to have students populate that grid in some particular fashion. Now, I want to think about each of your activities now. And is there any way you could use this kind of resource where you have like a grid in the back where people drag things on or draw on a grid? Does it make sense? It's like a worksheet, right?
Algebra tiles.
Okay, algebra tiles, okay.
But I have access to iPads.
Okay, so you have algebra tiles, and if you can freeze the background, and then you can, what's that? And you put a place to put the tiles. Okay, so now there's a place to put the tiles.
Yeah, but how do you lock it?
How do you
You
go
can't
back
freeze
to
it, it's just they don't change the background.
Yeah, they're not gonna right click and go to change background.
Right. So I mean,
How do you go back to the original picture?
okay, right here, how do I go back and get the original ones? I'm just going to say revision history.
It's not on, there it goes, people.
Okay, and I'm going to go back to today,
It's.
just before all of you destroyed this. And you can see that
Does Nicholas still?
right there,
I made my eye up there.
right there, boom, okay?
Now.
Now we're right there, we're back to where we were. So I've cleaned up the sheet, we're good to go. Let's actually create another one. Let's actually look back at the lists here and so forth. And I'm going to, let's try to look at some of these other ones and so forth on here and see if some of those would lend themselves to this. Okay, so let's look at Ryan's. Okay, Ryan is in music and so forth. So you want to do classical composers and artists from different genre. What do you want to accomplish?
Basically just have like the main ones, rap, hip hop, R&B, rock, country, techno, electronic, and just have them populate pictures, maybe artists.
Okay, let's just try something like this. Let's go right here. I'm going to just start this off and see if it's going to work here for you guys. So we're going to go to Drive, Google Drive, and I'm going to create a new sheet. Okay. Now this is going to be called composers. Okay. All right. Whatever. All right. And now, is there a grid in the background you might like them to populate? Would you like to them to appear on a like
The chronology, the year chronology.
Yeah, or I can
Decade,
have, or I can have like a square that says Baroque, classical,
okay.
romanticism, different.
Okay, so let's take this right here. I'd like everybody to, on slide number 1, I'm going to share this with you. So this is going to be shared with 695G. Okay, so you should have access to this right now. I'm going to create a grid for these, and let's start to work through this. I'm going to create a number of different pages right here, so we have a whole bunch of different blank pages. So you can work on another blank page, and then you can copy and paste onto this. So just choose a page, doesn't matter which one right now. I'd like you to go out there and get the photo of a composer, either Rhythms Blue or whatever. Okay, your composers, but there's going to be a caveat here. We want to make sure that they're all the same size. So I'm going to draw a grid right here. Actually, let me just, that would be a little bit too large.
Can you guess it?
I can think of that as Mozart. Oh, Bach.
Yeah.
Okay, now,
He's not playing.
okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a box here.
Oh, box for buck.
Box for Bach. Okay, basically your portraits here should fit in. They're going to be small, and so they need to. You want to not full length ones, just facials and so forth. So we're going to start here. So I'm just going to delete these other slides, and we're just going to copy this one. So each of those slides now is a template. Okay, go ahead and choose a slide. Choose a picture of a composer, and put it on that slide. There's enough slides for everybody there. Okay.
Command shift for it.
Just put a composer, your favorite
Yeah.
composer, on there, but make sure it's sized to this size. So size it to that square box.
Oh, that's pretty technical.
Okay? Try to get a facial of them because like that one with the whole piano and so forth is going to be too hard to recognize. You want to have something you can recognize.
Show you right.
Fadi, stay off slide 1. That's mine.
Okay. Oh, that's not funny. Sorry.
Okay?
Fine, I'm good.
Okay, just move it to another sheet. So just move it to your sheet, and again, just do the Command C, Command V. You know, when we do the Control key there, then you can just copy and paste. You don't need to save it to the desktop and so forth. So we got lots of them now. You're going to see.
There it is, that's one guy.
Okay. Now,
That's you.
so make sure that they're all the same size, that they're sized to that square. All right. Once you got them, now size that square, copy and paste it onto slide 1.
Sorry.
But don't put it in my square. Put it down below, just like the paint tiles were on both sides, okay?
There.
Okay, so just,
These lights seem so hospitable. There.
actually, don't paste it into my box. Okay, actually keep my box free there. And then-
Washed box.
That's handle, I think, right?
Handle.
Okay, okay.
It's not working. You handle
Is that building?
Okay.
Where'd my handle go?
And just put your pictures somewhere on that page like tiles, okay? So they're tiles on page 1. But no distorted handles, please, okay?
Yeah. He's distorted, because somebody did a squishy poo without being linear.
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm catching a lot
just
of-
put them on slide 1. So take one that's that size, just put it somewhere except in the box on slide 1.
Catching a lot of dead white nails, people.
When I let go.
Yes. No. Okay, do control, okay, Command Shift 4. But then let go of the keys. No, let go of the keys. There, now do your thing. Now release. That's on your Facebook. Now go here and
Barrel.
pollute somebody else's
Just
slide.
trying to get the size and then I'll be.
There you go.
Mark, take it.
Some company.
Just take them off.
Okay? So now we've got a number of them. They should all be about the same size.
It's Command Shift 4. It's just a piece.
Okay, so let's say that we now,
It's not working for our body.
We're adding.
So you wanna add them to this?
yeah, you're just going to basically put them on both sides here.
Well, he said something that you had to hold control or something, I don't know.
The control is when you're trying to do a screen capture and you want to be able to paste it someplace. So now we got everybody kind of ready. That's good enough. Okay, you got the idea, right?
Is Woody Allen composer?
Now,
No. The lyricist.
okay,
Yes, original tune.
No.
They were fantastic.
all right, now,
Original?
Yeah,
They're great.
I only hear his parents.
okay. Now,
That's totally.
just leave it for right now. I think we got something we can work with right here. So let's say we try to draw some kind of a grid in the background that we want the students to use here to apply. Okay, so I'm just going to just try something right here so you can see kind of the idea. I'm going to just put here, and not that this is polished by any means, it's very rough, just ideas, okay?
There you go.
So let's say I wanted to see where in the world these composers were, or let's say we're just dealing with United States outline map.
Most of them are here.
I know most of them are, well, let's do Europe map, okay? Okay, obviously this is,
Dead white males. so.
No,
Show
I'm
me
not
one.
gonna dead
Oh,
weight
okay,
down
there's
there.
a-
Not there.
I have Gerald Morton on there.
Good for you.
There are a lot of famous dead white men.
Should have done Robert Oppenheimer.
Wow, there's a lot of famous dead white men, because there's a lot of dead white men who wrote history.
Okay.
History is up.
Okay, this is devolving here. Okay, now.
Wait, no, what
Um,
Bach is doing right now? Decomposing.
Okay.
Wow.
I think he might have finished it.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
Like 500 years ago.
Now I'm going to say, if you click right, you say change the background. Okay, I can choose an image here, and I can drag it from any place, but I happen to have one right here that I'm going to upload from my folder right here. So there's the Europe outline map. And again, I'm not trying to be polished by this, please understand. I'm just trying to get the concept across. And I'll say done. Okay, now, there's a map. Okay, hold on a second. You can just, don't drag your guys yet anywhere. Come on, come on, come on. Hands off, hands off. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Now, you get everybody kind of surrounded here. What I'm going to do now is just going to say, take this one. I'm going to delete all these other slides because now they're useless. Okay. Okay, and I'm just going to take this one. Okay, just Command D, Command D. Okay, everybody take a slide and start moving around on your own. And you can see when somebody else has taken the slide, you get the idea. Start putting your composers where they belong. I've actually been, this is a interesting fact since you're a Bach fan. My sister has traced our lineage back to a tiny town on my dad's side called Mühlhausen in Germany. And we went to the church where many of my ancestors attended many, many years ago. And there's a big sign saying that Bach frequently played in this church and so forth. And there's a stone carving on the wall of a person who is my ancestor, actually, and then two paintings and so forth, direct ancestors. Kind of, I mean, by the time you get back that far, you've got thousands of ancestors, so it's not that big a deal. But well, I actually heard a guy play the organ and so forth. It was absolutely beautiful, but Bach had played on it. So now we can see, you can get the idea. Now, is this something that would be useful for you? Maybe not this specific thing, but I mean, is this kind of the idea you were thinking?
Yeah, you can do something like that in the United States, the artists they listen to.
Right, right. I mean, it can be graphic, it can be, but this could be like one component, so they go into some kind of collaborative graph. The key for this is to put the graphic where? In the background. Now, I'd like everybody to change the background of the slide to make sure you know how to do that. Change it, put another picture, another map, and so forth. So make sure you can change the background, because then it becomes a much more useful tool for you if you can do that.
What are we changing?
You're changing the background to a different map, to something else, but just the background, not the pictures. Just take a slide, choose the background to a painting. I don't care.
Which slide?
Any slide. You just choose a slide and change the background. Make sure you can change it, though, because when it's in the background, then you can have a template on which you can do this type of thing,
Finally. You got him.
What did you want?
He'll show you. I'll show you a composer.
Kanye West. He
Hey.
is the world. He
Bonnie's
is a composer.
Bonnie's been working on this for 20 minutes trying to get the picture.
He is the world.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, good. And you'll also want to see what happens if your aspect ratio is not the same as the background.
It's stretched.
Okay, so this is, who's this?
Mine.
Who?
Mine. Oh, this guy, Kanye West.
I'm not familiar, but if you, I'm sorry, is that,
He's a rapper.
what's that?
Kanye West is popular and they'll go, "Wow, Kanye West." And then he tweeted that.
Okay, well, whatever. Now, what you want to do is you want to choose a background which has the aspect ratio of your slideshow, right? Because otherwise you're going to get it squished in one dimension or the other. It's going to try to fit.
What is the aspect ratio of the slide?
Well, that's a good point.
That's measured.
When you,
Wants to be.
no, it's not whatever it wants to be. There's, when you click under page setup,
There we go.
click over on the left and say file page setup. Well, you can do it different ways. So you can say page set, you can do 16:9, or you can do 16:10, or you can do 4:3, or custom. So you can make your slideshows any way you want to. So the point there is you're doing a collaborative presentation like this. Each student can have a different slide, just like we were doing with the paint tiles or with the, atoms and isotopes and so forth, and then being able to create this.
It's under page setup.
Page setups, go to File, Page Setup, and do that, okay?
And did you change every slide individually, or they all have to be?
Yeah, that's the entire slide. That just changes the aspect ratio of the entire slideshow. Okay, I think we got the idea for that. And again, I don't know if that's in line with what George is useful for, or, Ryan and so forth, but trying to get some kind of handle on things which can be, this is a collaborative resource development. So you could create this so that each person had a different slide with different, like this one, different composers. And, let's say African composers, South American composers, and so forth. Each slide's a different one. And then have the students assigned a particular continent to do the research and then move them, or whatever you so desire that you think would be useful. Now notice in this one, okay, who did this?
Science. Dude, that is cool.
Okay, and
That's true of all of us, man.
okay, okay.
Mine was set as the background.
What's so? So
So you can set a
now see,
video.
this one I can delete. Okay, this one is the background. Okay, and so you said was this an animated GIF or is this a? Okay, this is an animated GIF, so it can go in there. In this one, to undo this, I have to right-click and do what? Change background, or again, go to File, Revision History. Yeah, and I can just go back and see, okay, Jason and Donnie were indeed fiddling around with this, all right? And I can go back to, I don't know what time it was and so forth. Let's see, okay, I'm tired of that image, okay? Let's restore back to there and we're fine, okay?
Back to a fluorine atom. Oh, what a choice.
All right, okay. Let's go back to what some of the other people are thinking about in terms of yours. Okay, heart rate, Mark, we've already done something like that. I think you got kind of some idea for that.
Because I'm right there in my class now, so I'm gonna
Right.
do that in a few days.
Verity, okay. Let's choose one of yours there, okay. Lord of the Flies Survivor, ELD, student country of origin and language and dramatic characterization, okay. Which one do you want to do first?
That's a really involved one.
Okay.
Well, because I'm just starting here. It's what I was telling everyone before we become tribes. So we started it today.
Okay.
I could add in some, because it's all in groups. The whole thing's collaborative.
Okay, so they're going to be, so Lord of the Flies, is each one is going to be a different plane wreck?
Yeah,
Okay, so they're all wrecking on different islands, right?
basically, yes.
And what do you want them to accomplish?
Oh, they have to get the whole philosophical analysis of the allegory of the story.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So in this case, right?
Just going.
Gotta love the allegory.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, terrible.
So what in her particular thing here, where they're trying to get some kind of allegory and so forth with these and the different characters and so forth, and the philosophical things, what might be helpful for her to start? I mean, what would be a good resource for her to start with?
This is where the characters,
Okay.
and like, what are their traits?
All right, let's just do this here right here. Let's. I'm going to go to drive.google.com. I'm going to create now a new Google Doc. Okay, I'm going to share this with you here. Okay, this is going to be Lord of the Flies.
You might use a shared folder and then we just all.
Right. Okay, we're going to get to that in a second. We're going to have a shared folder, but we're going to also create a master document and so forth. So all the groups have a similar charge. So I'm going to share this here with you with 695G. And again, the website is going to describe what's going on, but this is a collaborative resource. So the website kind of gives everybody information, but the collaboration comes on the Google Docs or whatever else you choose to use. So go ahead and take a look at that. Now, we're going to do this. Okay, everyone should be logging on to Lord of the Flies and so forth right here. Yeah, you should see an invitation. Okay, so now, okay, now everybody's making nice comments, which is cool, showing that we can all collaborate on this. But we want to do now something where we're going to create some kind of a template for students to compose their philosophy, right? So let's say I take something like this. Go to ipsum lorem text. Okay, you know what ipsum lorem is?
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'll just choose 5 paragraphs. Okay, here we go. This is, now, go back there to this.
It wants to be, so it should be.
Okay, so there's some language. So let's say that these are the prompts. Okay, yeah, somebody's changed. Okay, thank you. Let's wrap the text around it, and now we've got something to work with. Okay. All right, now, let's say that she has some prompts. This first one is a description on the philosophy of what's going on here. Now, we want the students to be able to respond to this. Okay, so this is a philosophical question and so forth. But the thing is that how many people are going to be in a group? Okay, 4 people. Okay, 4 people. Okay.
The guy with the glasses.
It happens. We have extra tables. They get stuck next.
You got extra glasses.
So casual.
Yeah, just something happened.
She's a master's student.
Okay, so let's say we wanted all 4 people to respond to the same prompt in the group, and then they can start to compare. What would be a good way of doing that? You know, what would it be?
Well, you can copy the 4 slides.
What's that? Well, you can talk, this is actually just a Google Doc. This is not 4 slides here.
Now, do we want the whole class to have access to this? Is that what the purpose is?
Actually, what we do is I would assume we would duplicate this for each individual group. So this is collaboration within 4 rather than collaboration within a class, yeah.
If you're gonna do groups, if you haven't used it, it's called Doctopus.
Yeah, do you want to describe what Doctopus does?
So,
How many of you have used Doctopus? Okay.
Yeah.
did I should?
Yeah.
I did.
He did rubric with
I did Rubric with Doctopus as a
And
substrate.
all you gotta do is, with Doctopus, is you just have to have your class roster set up. And then you,
But it only works if you have a Google.
no,
Really?
because I used this like 4 or 5 years ago, before all that.
Before
You just
class.
have to have, you have to
You
have
have
email
Google.
accounts.
Google, like
It doesn't have,
Docs.
I don't think it has to be Google account, but yeah, it does have to be Google, I'm not sure.
You don't need Google Classroom, but just like Google Docs.
Yeah.
And so what you can do then is you can create like a template, and then you can group the students according to how you
Push it in.
And so instead of making them do the text done for them, and they're automatically, all I have to do is open their file, and the group members are in there.
And you can do the same thing on Office 365. You can have a shared folder. So each of my classes has a shared folder, and that's their folder, and they can attack it in however they want.
Because I used to have to make my students create copies and share it, it was like a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
It is just makes the
Because
copy.
trying to do it.
Right, so
And then who's the owner of the document?
is there an advantage over Doctopus over Google Classroom in that regard?
Google Classroom, I do for individual type assignments.
But it won't group students.
They won't group the
It doesn't
students.
group students yet. So
Okay.
Until then, I still use Optimus occasionally.
Okay, now it's going to send the same document to 4 people, right?
So you
Okay.
can get it through their email, and it's also housed in the Drive.
Okay,
We'll make all 4.
so let's say Verity sets her groups up in Doctopus. She has 4 people, but they all get access to one document. Now, how do you keep straight who's doing what on one document? So let's say this is a philosophical question right here, and you want them all to be able to do some brainstorming. Okay, so what we can do is we can just, to make it simpler here, let's just try it here. Let's just do insert, okay, let's just say, to start it though,
No red.
okay, let's say student 1,
It's yellow.
and then,
Purple is red.
okay,
Insert a table.
you can do a table, or there's a lot of different ways you can do this.
Students freak out with the table though. Like, they don't
Table
do-
with 4 columns.
Right,
They don't do well with tables because they're afraid like that's the only space they have.
But the table expands.
I know, but it freaks them out. Like English honor students.
Make it a really large table.
I've got my kids trained on tables. I have them all
Set
taking
your
notes on
page
tables.
orientation, landscapes.
But it took a while to train.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of time, so bullet points are fantastic.
Okay, so here we have just a real simple way of addressing this, okay? Where we have 4 students in a group. Now, each of those students here, okay, when we send this out, you're gonna be student 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? And now when they start typing here, when student 2 starts typing, it's all gonna be in blue. When student 3 starts typing, it's all gonna be in red, and so forth. And now the point is that we can see their original work, and then we can have basically another one down here, which could be their final work, and we can set this up as a template. So now you take this, and the students are sent this via Doctopus to a group of 4, and they're all sent the same document, and they're just assigned student 1, 2, 3, or 4, and they can change their names and so forth if they want to. But now they can see their individual writing, then we can get to their corporate writing and so forth as it comes back. Is this kind of thing would be useful?
I use it all the time, but I use it with Microsoft, yeah.
Okay, but same thing. It does any kind of cloud-based thing. It doesn't need to be Google, and it can be whatever. Now, would this be helpful for any? Is this kind of an idea that what Verity's doing? Can you see using this yourself for this type of idea? Again, the grouping via Doctopus, the color coding, and so forth to send out to collaborative type of work.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, like earlier. Actually, but my mentor, what I like about tables, I'll set up a table and I'll have like a million rows.
Huh.
Then I'll have defined columns. And so the prompt will be here and the answer will be here. And they're trained enough. She's right. They freak out psychologically because it's all wedged in.
Right.
As soon as they start typing, each
Right.
cell expands. But it's wonderfully organized.
Right. Yeah. So so we're talking about here. We do a table. We insert a table. Let's say it's going to be 2 by 4.
Yeah.
And then just give the people cells and so forth, and it'll expand and so forth as well. And so the nice thing is it confines it. So there's just multiple ways to do this.
Just a table doesn't observe the wrap. I did not know that. See how you got the word wrap?
Right,
in the
right.
Picture?
No, that is kind of an issue and so forth, but right. Okay, let's look back at some other people's work right here. And we're going to look at, what's that? At you? Okay, so Baruti. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at Fadi's right here.
Thank you guys.
So we have this field trip coming up to JPL for my 9th grade as part of their technology and engineering class. And instead of them going there and just sitting through the seminars, I have this list of things I want them to ask about.
Okay,
Like what is geosynchronous orbits,
excellent.
what is deep space communication, and so on.
Okay, so everyone understand, he's taking his students on a field trip to JPL. He wants them to be engaged in this. We actually did this last year. See if I can find this right here. I'm going to put
Space communication.
search is going to be
Stuff is explained to you. Yeah, but I'm giving them a Google form on their.
all right.
and they have to
Take a look at
fill
this
out
right here. I'm going to
on their form, it actually works.
It's pretty slick.
okay. I'm going to send this form to you. So take a look at your form 619. Again, hopefully you're keeping all these things that you get. Just put them in a folder so you can reference them. Okay, so for some reason it's not, hold on a second. Okay, I'm going to send the form to 695. G. For some reason I can't scroll down here. There you go. There you go. Thank you. Send. Okay, thank you. Whoops. So 695G. Okay, take a look at that. All right, and you're going to see it in a view alive form. Okay, so everybody open it up. Now see if this would address Fadi's needs. By the way, just go ahead and start responding to it too. Just put answers in just for the sake of answers. So you start to see what's going on here. This was actually made collaboratively by the last class. This one was obviously a rough version. This is not polished. But the Science Cube is a new science museum. It's in Lakeview Terrace. And this is the group that made it. That was the science cohort and so forth. And as you scroll through this, you're going to see that these are questions. Now, I want you to think about this because this can be very useful for anybody who has some kind of a field trip type of a thing you want to turn into a CSCL lesson. Now, how many of you have ever been to, you can just scan through just to get some kind of idea. How many of you have ever been to like the Science Center, okay? And have you ever been there when you've seen like a busload of elementary or junior high school kids getting up there? What do you notice about those students when they're in there? What's their behavior like?
My students were very well behaved.
Okay, besides Donnie's students, okay? What do they do?
They're on the free.
Crazy.
They go look
They
at
like-
everything
After
without
the bus start running.
looking for anything.
Yeah, the thing, big thing with the clay.
That's what I did when I went there at the shopping cart. I had so much.
They like to take pictures.
I went there.
Okay, take pictures of themselves. But have you ever seen them like they push a button to activate something, but then before they even can read the display, they're off to someplace else? Now, with any kind of field trip, let's say that Fadi's taking his group to Jet Propulsion Laboratory, you know, world-class center for deep space research. Wouldn't it be good if Fadi could set up something akin to this, so when the students come on their phone, because by the way, this works on your phone, this is a Google form. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you just to try it on your phone. Go to, this case right here, just go to your email and accept it on your phone, and now you have a study guide they can track with them en route. Okay. Do you have the form coming up? Okay. Now scroll through it. Do you see now you have a portable guide for the Science Center? You don't need an app.
Yeah, because this is just directly through you.
All right, just check your email.
If you click the link to open it, it's a little bigger. So,
Oh, it'll take you to like your web browser.
it's still in the mail, actually. For me, though.
Because you have the Gmail app. But that's why.
It would be nice to add pictures like you did. That's pretty.
Well, it's very easy to add the picture. You just say insert the picture. So these are ones that my students took. They went to the Science Center. They took their pictures. So they were familiar with the field trip and its purposes. So let's say that we're doing some other type of a thing like this. Let's say that let's say that Ryan wants to do this with something music. Now, I'm not sure if you can insert into forms an audio track. I think you can, I'm not sure. But you could actually play a little, what's that?
Maybe put it as YouTube.
Maybe there's a YouTube clip. Okay, you play it and say, okay, what type of music is this? And they fill it around the form. What type of music is this? They fill it on the form. Let's just try it right now. So let's say I change something here. Since I'm the editor on this, I can edit this form.
Oh, yeah.
So let's say I click on this and I say, you know, change the image, and I say here that there is something I think you can, hold it, let me just, I'm pretty sure you can insert a YouTube here.
Yeah, it's easier to see in that new version.
Yeah, this is the older version. So, well, let's just make a form. Okay, let's just make a new one here. So let's say we're dealing with Ryan's situation on being able to hear and recognize a particular type of a piece. So let's say a new Google form. And I'll just say here, this is going to be, we're going to make this first, we're going to insert a, where is it? Yeah, right there. Right there. Okay, so add a video. So I'm gonna add a video, and I'll add a video, give me a name of composer, Bach, okay? Thanks, right? Okay, so,
I really influence things.
okay. So let's say here, okay. So here we go to Bach, here's a Bach YouTube, and, well, these are all kind of long, lengthy Bach, look at it, they're all like 1 hour.
They're playing it's like
Look for a short one, look for,
Type in history of stuff.
no, look for a short one, like,
Here, let's look at some other,
just type in box lunch.
Kanye West.
okay,
Kanye West for fun.
You can do the
Yeah, I think Kanye.
okay. Okay, how about this, this is, let me put this, okay, Canon in D on, let's see, no, electric guitar, okay? This right here, this video was the most popular video on YouTube about 8 years ago. Okay, this was a kid, okay, this was a kid, right. This is a kid that just did this all from, anybody seen this before? I think it's some kid in Korea. And it's terrible video, but the audio is incredible. You never see his face. Okay. And then when it gets down farther, it gets really. Okay. Okay. So that was actually Paco Bell, but anyway. Okay. So if I click on share, and I take this URL right here, and I click back over on my form, which I'm now creating, I paste it there. Why is it not coming up? There we go. All right. We'll say select. And now Ryan says, okay, genre, okay? And they're going to, now he's going to, you can put some stuff there, and then we'll do another question here. You can add it and so forth. But the point is now, rather than having like a field trip type things, he's watching movies from YouTube that the students are now getting a quiz on. And then it all goes where? Where does all that data go? Into a spreadsheet, which you can then grade with what? Libru. Okay?
Well, I like that there's an option to share and start the video at a certain time.
Right.
You can even have one video, multiple questions.
Exactly. So one video you can have multiple questions and so forth for. Do you think you could use that? Okay. Anybody else?
Definitely gonna use it.
Okay. Now,
Yeah, I was gonna say that could get very loud. and
right. Now let's say that Fadi's doing it with Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Okay.
Yeah, that's.
He's going to go to Jet Propulsion Laboratory. You can insert the movies, you can insert the pictures, but here's what he'd want to do. First of all, you go to this Von Karman Auditorium.
That's what we mean.
Okay, because there is lots in the auditorium. Just look at the images and start taking some images you already have to work with here. And okay, you're going to see this, and you can do the research, and so you can already be equipped with some pictures. So when they come in there, and then you can just talk about museum, which is right next door to it. And you're going to probably find more pictures and so forth in there of various different things. And these are all going to be things from Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So now when the kids go, they have some pictures to correlate, they have some questions to answer, and they're engaged. I think the big problem is you have these, kids going on field trips. It's just a party, They run around. But now if you have on their phone, okay, here's your phone, go find this. Could be a scavenger hunt. So you say, okay, like, I think what this is really useful for is if you give like extra credit for going on field trips to different places. And I strongly encourage you to think about this because it's a way to get the families involved. Just say, here's some different places you can go on field trips, but if you're going to go there, what do you have to do? Work into the form. Does that make sense? Eileen?
Yeah, I do that, but I have them take selfies.
Oh, okay.
Because not every kid has a phone. and
Right.
I can't, but
Sure. Okay, good.
And it does encourage like family time.
What's that?
It does encourage family.
Oh, I loved it when we had extra credit options like that because the parents get involved with like, okay, let's go see this and so forth. We're going to take a 5-minute breather. We're going to come back and hopefully this is getting juices flowing. So for the next few weeks, you're starting to think about developing this stuff and start working on this so that it's not, because when I come back, we want to have some progress made on this stuff.
I have taken photos of pretty much all the stuff. I have it already on my computer. And one of the videos I'm gonna add is the 8 minutes of terror when they were landing the Curiosity lander. That's the video I plan on adding on my YouTube.
Okay, very cool.
Because every time we go there, oh, it stops. So I want them to see this. Like,
Yeah, no, it'd be good.
I think this was one of the most amazing moments in human history.
Oh.
Pulling this one off.
No, it's
Having taught robotics, I know how
right on.
hard it is. And you're doing it on another planet.
Right.
A year and a half ago, a year and a half away.
Yeah, right.
Gee.
That 7 minutes of terror
That was
video is
just
awesome.
Huh?
That 7 minutes of terror video is awesome.
Yeah.
Very well, I think I'm
7,
getting
8
a fever.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I'm
Okay.
gonna go home.
Okay, all right. Okay, take care of
So I'm
yourself.
gonna continue to share.
Okay, thank you.
So much. I'm like overwhelmed with, I don't know how much we're doing and like I'm having a hard time. I think because I have my kids that I have every day, I almost always have them on the ebook and that's like the majority of the work, but like with the apps and stuff, it's so much easier now that I'm like, go here.
Little what?
Have it all like ahead
I didn't see anything like that for history.
By the way, I wanted to thank you too for the camera scan.
Oh,
It changed my life. I've showed it to all
Cam
my
scanner?
students. Cam scan, yeah, that one. I showed it to my students. Now they're all using it. Like I put it on. I mean, the quality is amazing and
Oh.
it's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Because I have that CAD class, I get them to measure things and draw things, and then they have to scan them. They've been using their phones with horrible pictures,
Huh.
and now they're all over this.
Right.
Amazing.
Good.
Today I had to scan a few forms. I did it during the break while on supervision. Just put the paper, scan it, done.
Amy has the other one.
Very useful stuff. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I'm glad.
There's one in each one. Like recently, I was like, okay, if I want to get my card, I want to get my class, like, can I just have it stored there, and then if somebody needs it, that's fine. Yeah, that's like the best way to do it. And I feel like the past 2 weeks, it's been in my class, and it's so nice, That's why I was like, oh, I'm gonna make my first test on all books.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You don't have to give specifics,
All the
but
I
was wondering how it works, because I've been studying with a doctor.
Was that?
I've been
Oh,
studying
cool.
with a doctor,
Very good.
but I'm just wondering how it works with
from Drive.
college
I'd be
level.
like, here's your test.
Is maybe as far as grade, is it elective? High school, junior high, where there's that
Pay scale?
unit type thing, how do they assess part-time, even class routines, or what's the
Yeah.
college?
You mean in terms of how, what's the pay scale based on?
Yeah.
Well, most, college positions are PhD required. Yes, right. and kind of-
Well, I think it's to be full-time.
Right, but to be part-time.
Part-time just
Right, so for example, let's say you want to teach a class for us, okay, which is quite a possibility, that something like that would open up because my previous is going, is FERPing. Early retirement is going to be just FERPing halftime. So let's say we had a position like that.
Yeah.
So you apply for that. We actually have somebody who just has their master's, is at Granada, Jake, he teaches a 514 course, which is one of the computer instruction courses. So let's say, you apply for something like that, you get it. I think that don't know if that's based on your degree or just the fact that it's a per job type deal. So we're trying to teach part-time thing. It's been so long since I've really looked into it. I'm not really sure because I don't, I'm full-time, so it doesn't concern me. But if you are interested in something here, or Elsie Timberlake or something, put yourself in the part-time pool and just say, I finished my master's and, like get a part-time pool for educational technology and so forth like that.
Yeah.
I did that for biology when I was at, many years ago. I just threw it into the Hopper fund at college and I ended up teaching there part-time for 25 years until I came here. And community colleges or CSUs use even UCs and so forth. There's going to be people with specific expertise that they need, And you have to apply to the part-time pool. And sometimes you apply long in advance of the actual job. So now it's like, there's a need, and they go, oh, wow, we have an immediate need, and then you get on the roster, and you become permanent. So,
And how's you guys, how's the pay scale?
so,
How's the pay scale per year, or, because I'm just used to teaching. This many units, this many years you're here. That's what you call it. Or they calculate.
yeah, you know, I know that almost all teaching positions is years of service, and it's, so,
If calls always the same type of thing, or do you contract and negotiate for it?
I wish I could tell you, I just don't know, I'm not department chair, so I don't deal with it.
So you just,
Yeah. But I do know about the part-time pool because I review those, I just don't know the pay and stuff like that. Are you thinking about teaching, like?
well, eventually, yeah, but I mean, the part-time thing's definitely, nice River RCC right there, but although I'm looking at like a 3 to 5 year plan out there, just to get my, it's the requirement, moving back closer this way, family.
Yeah, so you're just gonna be, out here. I think I responded kind of text, sort of, but yeah.
Now my mother, yeah.
So we got 5.
My mother cannot
Yeah.
collect them.
So 5
Still,
for
she's actually.
I'm still gonna have to go.
And then she'll get it the rest of her life. And that's about 1,500 months for the rest of her life, once she's 60.
Like, yeah, you're not gonna ask them to.
As
No.
long as she doesn't
That's
marry.
what
She can marry after that.
Never helped. It's like,
So she's going to get remarried.
like, oh, we have the kids for this. They're the ones getting the food. Why am I gonna ask them to donate? That's who I see to get the clothes. That's why I think no, like.
People that love
Yeah, I guess.
but and it's kind of weird. Kids still get mission control. Spouse only does.
Oh, yeah.
So.
You know, we have to
It's
say.
standard to make You're gonna let it sit.
She doesn't get. To me, it's like a whole.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sound here is gonna show it. I have the sound.
Yeah.
That's my, like,
One of them is bad.
no, but I'm saying, I'm just gonna narrate it. Right, narrate that, right now, narrate it. Very classic. No.
Not here, I have a few.
I feel like I just made it.
That time I had my best camera. And I could not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you good?
They never, okay, now this is the time. Because the only time they're going to take the kids.
Our deadline.
Special things.
Oh, that's
We had a very, very small team. I don't know if no one was really lucky this year. On Tuesday, on Wednesday,
But
Thursday,
I wanted to make sure past it.
Wednesday, my first last year, next year, next first week, for 2 hours. Oh, yeah.
That's like Robert. Yeah, that's, yeah. And the greatest thing our, like our, it's where you guys share more than.
Wow, that's a first. What's the standard? But then they, oh, then they,
Yeah, you're gonna play this.
full year course.
That's
That's a lot.
That's
But basically, kind of,
Oh, yeah, and my curriculum is very clear, like, video. I know. I write it on the board real big too, and they still do it, and I still sometimes get it. I usually awkwardly say like, oh, yeah, we can help me. Look to be like, wow, come look at our podcast, see if that works out. We have presentations.
Have you seen this one yet, Gordon? It's all translated.
Oh, you're kidding. No way. No.
So I can go English to Spanish.
It's not perfect. It works better with regular fonts, but
Let me see, I have Google Translate on here because I can show that.
there was something in the hallway in Spanish. I was trying it out, and Mark was eavesdropping on me.
I couldn't believe it. That's so cool.
Oh, that's funny. They had just translated Subway to mediocre in Spanish.
Okay, that's gratuitously hard.
Yeah, it works better with like.
I'd like to see this.
Basic fonts.
Okay, let's see, this is,
So like I was just using this.
yeah, put another one there.
Like if you have like regular type, it works really well.
Okay, let's see if I'm just gonna do it here because I have a, okay.
I wonder how much data flows
So you
between the
gotta
phone and
go
Google.
on your camera there
Okay,
and just hover.
okay. This is great. You can introduce it here. Hold
I'll
on.
let you know if we have any.
Hey, let's,
It'll turn it, it turns
And they never do the second interview.
It's my screensaver. Wow.
okay. Okay, let's get going here again. Okay, Donnie's going to show us a new little trick here. He's going to show it on the iPhone here. He showed it on his phone. Okay. Okay, so.
Except he's standing in the beam.
Oh.
Don't cross the beam.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's Google Translate.
All right. So yeah, what you can do is I have this set to English to Spanish.
Yeah. Students do that in class all the time.
Is that too cool?
For their tests, which are not acceptable. That? Does it do other languages? Yes. I have a child that speaks.
Does it do Armenian?
Today for.
Let's see.
Which one is the?
It's just Google Translate.
Oh, I use it.
How do we do it? It's way more.
Yeah, it doesn't
Google.
read Armenian.
I have, my whole first period we use it.
Let's see. I know I know there's a way to do more. Oh, it's on. Is it on? It's on the screen.
Go back.
Is this the Translate app
Where you
Yeah.
get the
Wow,
picture
that's insane.
Okay.
my students do it on their tests and it's not, it's
at the top.
That's
the
an
blue.
exchange student.
I gotta show this to my Spanish
Click
teacher.
the link.
Oh, okay, yeah, so you can see we got all those languages.
Now I'm going to
choose from.
Netherlands pretty soon, see my daughter and son-in-law. What's that? A week from Friday. Yeah. Right,
So you could use this on the road signs.
exactly.
Go to like Vietnamese or something.
What language is it?
Dutch, go to Dutch.
Hey, it'll work in Chinese. I'm going to Hong Kong.
have you seen it?
Oh, good, they do have Dutch.
Okay, so let's just,
Oops.
okay,
Oh, you want me to download Dutch for you?
yeah,
It didn't do it.
4.3 megabytes.
His phone's got.
Oh, wow.
Ah!
Oh, wow, okay, yeah, I can read a little bit of Dutch. Let me see here, let's see if it's correct.
Oh.
Okay, let's look at, on your device, let's see, okay. Yeah, op means on, op u is on your, okay, so apparaat, that's apparatus, okay, yeah, okay, it's, you know, tiki means to tap, okay, so it's,
That's
Icon.
insane. Yeah,
Nothing. Working.
very cool. Now,
I think the future has arrived. The future got here. It's 2016. man.
That's like that.
We're in the future. That's all this is.
I want to get fed. Google did not invent. They bought a company. that-
Yeah, no, I actually had the app that Google bought it from.
And then they stopped. What was it called? And then they stopped.
I wish I could remember the name of it.
It
Yeah,
took them like a year and a half before they added it to Google Translate.
wow,
yeah. No, because I got it for free one time, and thought it was the coolest thing. Oh man, what was it called?
Does
I
the
mean-
Good
Chinese.
question.
No, it only does.
look at the wall.
Like Armenian.
Can you see it up there?
I'm sure they'll do it
Yeah.
eventually.
No, that's
Well, people are
Okay.
gonna be in a different
Look
category.
at that.
No,
Maybe
but
this will
think
be
of the
so.
world.
Let's just see the atmosphere here.
He said that.
The almost.
Yeah, but he said Hebrew.
Isn't that
So
amazing?
he'll get there.
That's insane.
Now,
Well, I needed that for Armenian.
I'm
Well,
going to China.
and also
I hate
who's the
Chinese.
And it did
Wow.
it for,
Doesn't do
this
Chinese.
morning I used it,
I was
Where you
thinking
going
just arrived from
What?
Bangladesh.
Oh, so did-
Yeah, to Bengali.
Now-
Bengali.
It's in what now? It's in
Translated to
Bengali.
Bengali this morning.
Now, the cool part about this is my,
Held it up to my students.
Oh, Nora says, the cool part, where's he going here?
my,
They're working on mine now with it.
Use it every-
my daughter, well, my granddaughter and grandson are Dutch. Well, they're Dutch, American Dutch, whatever you want to call it, because obviously their mother is American, but she speaks fluent Dutch. But all the children's books over there, I'm actually they want me to read English to them because they want them to be bilingual. And it's amazing to watch like a 2-year-old switch between English and
That's what.
Dutch.
That's what.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, but when I'm looking at the children's books in Dutch, I want to see what they're actually saying. I generally have a pretty good idea, so I can just put it up there, translate it. Now I know what they're saying, so I can complete the stories. So very cool. Thank you, Donnie, for showing that. I've used Google Translate before, but that was,
That's insane.
But depending on the language, you have different levels of translation. Like
Yeah.
English, German, English, French, it's right there.
right,
But other languages, it just pops up and you have to select it and it slows it down.
right. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit slower. Okay, so that thank you for showing us this cool app in terms of the. I mean, that's really pretty amazing. And it's weird is that it picked up the same font. Did you notice that?
That's insane.
That's what's really crazy because the font just changes. That's really crazy.
It's the future.
Okay.
Future got here.
Yeah, let's take a look at. Now, Carol, tell us about jury selection.
This was actually a project that one of the stats teachers was doing, showing us the other day about looking at, I think it was jury selection and I think it was the Rodney King case actually. And whether it was fair, the makeup of the jury. And so they were doing a statistical experiment about it. And I guess I can't remember, stats is in my forte, but there's some number the courts have picked that if it's if it's reaches this level, then it's considered to be fair. And so there's an experiment, rolling a die to see whether something comes out to be fair. So it would be something where the kids would go through that process and then they would gather the data to see if it came out to be statistically fair according to the American justice system.
Okay, great. Now, looking at this, let's go online and type in here dice roller, okay? Here's a dice roller, just right there in Google. Okay, let's just roll it, 6-sided, roll it, boom, roll it again, boom.
You know, I think she actually was using a spinner.
Okay, so
We
we,
could do flipping a coin, maybe it was.
yeah, flipping a coin, rolling. So let's say you're doing some kind of statistical type of thing here. Now, okay, there's probably a feature here to roll multiple coins. Let's do random.org dice roller. Let's do 2 virtual things. So let's say like between, the numbers between 1 and 12. Are the numbers between 1 and 12 equally used in terms of dice?
No.
Okay, so let's actually do a real quick thing here. This is akin to what she's doing, but not exactly. Go to random.org. Okay.
They're using,
Okay.
using atmospheric noise and not fake random number generators.
Right. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to insert on the app. Okay. So on the quick write here, we're going to have 3 columns. You're going to do 3 dice rolls with 2 dice, and tell me what numbers come up. Okay. Just do it there. Just do 3 with 2, and just put it right into the quick write as soon as you did it. Okay. Okay. If you just type there,
Under games,
yeah.
I use 2 \dice.
Okay. Yeah. Or random.org/dice.
So you want the total then for the dice? Or
Yeah. The total for you're doing 2 dice.
So you don't want to know the 2 numbers, you just want to know the total.
Correct. Okay? I don't want the two numbers, I want the total of 2 dice. Okay? So not 3, 5, but put 8. Okay, good.
There's no roll.
Okay, just go, everybody roll some. If you, Amy's not here, somebody roll for Amy. Somebody roll for, yeah, Farouk, somebody roll for Farouk. Just fill in this so we get some, just keep rolling there so we get some numbers. You can fill it on the bottom ones.
I don't like that results.
What's our
Your results weren't randomized.
What's that?
what's our third column?
Third column is just for a third dice roll. So in other words, these are the sum of the first die roll, the sum of the second die roll, the sum of the third die roll. Now,
Oh,
Have to do with even odd numbers.
so now that the students have rolled these dice, and the question is every number equally common? Okay, and or is there some that are more common than others? So now we have to figure out, okay, how would you actually tabulate that? All right, so how would we go about tabulating that? Okay, has everybody rolled their dice?
Yep.
Okay, click on the top and say sort A to Z. Okay,
Only one of us dare do this.
right, exactly. Okay, so now we can see the distribution of those. Now again, you could do this manually. If you want to automate this, there's a way to do it automatically and so forth as well. Now, that becomes a little bit more advanced. But the idea is that you could just have the students total all these things up, how many 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6, and then they can start to plot them in some kind of distribution. So in this case, you would want to do some kind of a chart where there's like 12 columns and then the frequency of each, right? Now you could actually automate it because there's things right here which are called lookup functions, equals, I think, look up a value, okay? So if you look up a value for a particular cell right there, and then I'm trying to remember how you actually do this. I'd have to look at the things, but you can say I'd look up all the 2s, all the 3s, all the 4s in a particular row. So you can look up this here. I think that, I don't remember the syntax for this. I'm probably massacring it. Let's say 2, I think
That was massive.
no, this is massacred, I'm sure. Good point, yeah, it gives you the actual, okay, so,
Where does it at?
no, where's mine?
Press the question.
There we go. Okay, look up search key, so here's actually describes how to do it. So the point there is you could say, I'd like to look up all those and then count them, all these and then count them, all those and then count them, and so forth. You get the idea? So then you could actually count the number of the different ones, and you can automate it. So the students can roll the die automatically. They can feed this in here, and very quickly you can do a statistical test, and then you could plot to see if those distributions are. And you'll notice over time, you're going to get a bell curve, all right? You're going to get kind of a normal distribution because which numbers are going to be really rare? 12 and 2, okay? 1 won't even exist, okay? Okay. Which numbers do you think will be the most common?
I know.
7 and 8. Everybody play Settlers of Catan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that one for me.
Okay, what do you know about numbers 7 and 8?
Oh, wait, you said an 8. They're different.
I forget.
So,
6 and 8 are the same. 7's
Seven.
higher.
right, no, 7's the highest.
Yeah.
6 and 8 are the next two most common. So 6, and then 7's the highest, then 8. And they're the most frequent type of,
Yeah, you take their corn and their maize.
right, exactly. Now, so Carol might want to look up lookup key. That may not be the best one to do it. There's probably multiple ways to do that where you can actually see the number of a particular instance. And so you can total them. There's other ways to do this perhaps. But the idea is that there she goes out, the students do a random thing. They don't have to worry about the dice. They can just keep rolling them, boom, 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 put the numbers in, start to see, is the distribution fair? Now, it doesn't really necessarily relate directly to the jury selection, but it starts to give them a concept for how statistics are used. So, for example, if you have jury selection for Rodney King case, and you have, each side of the dice represents a certain characteristic or something like that. I mean, you could kind of make that analogy and so forth to it. Okay, let's look at some other ones here. Some other people's. I hope is this getting you thinking about, I mean, there's so many ways to use these technologies to engage people. Okay, so Alicia, mathography, okay? Describe what mathography is.
Well, that's what they called it, and I have CPM, and so at the beginning, the very first lesson that they come in, that they're starting, it has them rate their perception of their mathematical content, and then how well they did in that class, starting from kinder, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade,
Okay.
and then sixth grade. And so I had them do that at the beginning of the year. And so I was thinking of having them, I don't know, maybe putting all of their information in one place so that we can talk about, like I put describing distributions and data, so that we can use that data to maybe do that.
So are these self-reported?
Yeah.
So self-reported in terms of their attitude towards math?
I can't remember. I think, yeah, like based on how they felt on ability, and how they did.
Okay. All right, what would be the best way for her to approach that? Okay.
Well, gee whiz, you got a couple issues, like whether it's anonymous or not. That's one of the
Right.
first
Okay, so if it's anonymous, what do you always want to have? A form, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, because if it's in a spreadsheet, people see each other's comments and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, you don't generally, it's kind of a personal issue like that, you're going to want to do it as a form because you're going to want to have the students not see each other's response. Now, if you want to see the aggregate, you can do the aggregate, you can get the data through a form, but then just display the aggregate data. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with something which is private reported information, so forth, use forms. But you can still take the aggregate data and display the data because it's not showing individual responses. Does that make sense? Okay, let's look at Jason, okay? Which one do you want to talk about?
I'm still thinking about Charlie Lexile, because there might be students that are embarrassed.
Right, okay. By the way, I was embarrassed by my reading levels, just so that you mentioned that. I remember, does anyone else ever have this
Yeah, I had that.
do these boxes?
Yeah, I remember those.
How many people have those boxes?
It's all on. I don't know if they still make them, do they?
I don't know.
They still make us.
Do they?
What is that? Huntington.
Because I did that, like when I was in junior high.
I remember this, it was elementary school, we had SRA reading,
So,
and what was when you're doing SRA reading, you're always looking around to see what?
Color.
Color. Because if you were red, you were really bad.
The red's the low one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Blue was the high one, I remember.
Blue is the highest. It goes through this, kind of, and I just remember every kid knew the color. So you pull that sheet out and your reading had the color on it.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I clearly remember that from a reading. So the point is again, it goes back to what Alicia's talking about. When you're collecting student data, whether it's reading Lexiles or whether it's, math graphing and so forth like this, it's like be sensitive with that information because I was valedictorian for my high school and I was embarrassed about my reading level in elementary school. So go figure, okay? I was going, oh, that guy's, on the purple, and it's like, at that time, the purple was the top.
The smart ones always have to read.
Well, also, I was voted, like at the end of the year when they have like most likely to succeed and everything else,
Yeah. Well, how would you get?
I got shyest.
Oh.
I got best settings.
Okay, I think we need a demo here, okay, so.
I'll bring the picture.
Oh, I bet you
Oh
will.
my gosh.
Just show us the online version.
I should have it's the last year on the top 10 most popular novels because that can open up all kinds of things. Like I can have them figure out the top 10 books by genre
Okay, let's take a look at this. And again, you're thinking always of your thing, but we're trying to use these different technologies and so forth in the process. And I'm trying to introduce new ideas and so forth, and start to realize there's so many things where you can start to make this CSCL lessons. Okay, the top 10 most popular novels in the past 10 years, okay, by genre. All right, now, what would your source for the data for that be?
New York Times list maybe?
Yeah, just Google it. Yeah.
Google like top
List.
10, 2000.
Or listserv.
BuzzFeed articles.
Don't
Yeah.
you have like a
Listserv.
Okay,
How about Wolf?
New York bestseller or something? I hear that all the time.
Where's the, yeah, the New York
Something
Times
like that.
bestseller list.
okay, New York Times,
Those are
okay.
being cheap.
Now, okay, here's the key, the thing. It's going to be pretty simple for them to go to New York Times. Let's just go to, everybody go to Wolfram Alpha.
Yeah, see, Wolf.
Wolfram Alpha, and just put their popular books. Okay. Okay, computing.
They're all branded.
All right. Okay, so, okay, I'm going to put their New York Times best sellers.
You know what? My instinct is not gonna have
My instinct is that they'll have something.
it. I think I'd be right.
Okay. So now they're coming up with a movie and so forth.
Yeah, see?
Okay, so we may not have, it may not come up. Wolfram Alpha is really good for, yeah, let's just put their novels and see if anything come up. Okay,
It doesn't understand.
okay, no, okay, so it's very good with lots of stuff, but it's not good for this. So a lot of times Wolfram Alpha would be a great place to go. Now,
It has notable text. Like if you scroll down right there, at the before you are.
okay, notable texts.
this Constitution
Okay.
Time.
Right, exactly. So these are the these are very, very well-known books and so forth like this. So, but we're looking for this. Okay, so it does have notable text and so forth. But let's say we go to the New York Times bestseller list. Let's just say historically New York best sellers. And then each student can go, like they just type in 2015, 2016, 2007. Okay, now that's interesting. Okay, they get those ones right there. Now, what kind of research are they going to have to do? Okay, now let's create this a form. I want everybody to, I'm going to start a form, and you're going to invite you as authors on this. Okay, so drive.google.com. I'm going to say new form, and this is going to be bestsellers. All right, so we're going to go there, and we're going to say that we'd like to share this with you. And where they move the share. I want to invite collaborators, add collaborators. So here's my collaborators. It's going to be 695G. Okay, so look at your Gmail, and you are now all collaborators on this document. Okay, everybody on? Now, I'm just going to duplicate a whole bunch of questions here. All right, so okay, so here's, now what I'm doing right here is to avoid some confusion, okay? I'd like you to count up, okay, in terms of this, okay? I've just replicated things so that we have a bunch of ones to begin with, because this becomes really difficult when you have multiple people working on the same thing. So you're going to have to count up the number of yours, and here's the number you're going to select. So I'll just say sort A to Z. So Alicia, you're number 2. Just look at your number there. It's just a number over on the side, all the way down to Verity, you're number 18. Okay. Everyone, go to the form, and now I'd like you to come up with an interesting question that hopefully is going to be quantifiable in some way. Okay, quantifiable is like, okay, like this. Let's just say, let's give an example. So you mentioned there in terms of how much money did it make, okay? So let's say that that was going to probably be like a multiple choice if we're going to try to, well, actually let's do a multiple choice here. And your first one could be, lowest bracket and so forth. Or actually, that might just be an open text, okay? So just a short answer, okay? So how much, what would the measure be? Revenue per what? Okay, per year, okay? Now again, that may not be a quantifiable thing because you're looking, they're produced at different times during the year, but the point there is that you're trying to get the popularity in terms of that. What are some other questions he could ask? Okay, go ahead and just put it in there, and we're going to fill out the form here, and then we're going to start to think about the nature of those particular questions. So these are, like the thing is, what's the bestseller year? What's the, this is going to be about, I think what they're going to do is that I assume that each one is going to fill this out with a different book, right? So the first question is probably going to be,
I said top 10, but maybe it should just be the number 1.
well, wouldn't you want each student to have a different book and to do different research so you can start to get some kind of a trends? Okay, so let's say the top 20, you have 20 students in the class, top 40, you have 40 students in the class. Let's look at those books. Each person is doing a different book. But the idea here, here's the first thing. Okay, so the first question, let me just copy one right here. I'll move it up here. Is, and this is very cool if you haven't used this before. I'm going to say, which book? Now, I'm going to make this here not a short answer, but I'm going to make it a multiple choice. And the way to do that is to do this. I'm just going to say list of states, okay, just so you get the idea, okay? So this is the alphabetical list of states. All right, so here's some states, okay? It could be books, doesn't matter. I click on this and I paste in there and I paste in paste, and it creates all of them for you just like that, okay? So now, what it stopped where I stopped. It would go 100 if you had 100 options. So now you're selecting from the list, okay? So now they don't have to type that in. Okay, try that now yourself. Try just creating one here and copying in like a list of things so they can select from, because it makes your life a whole lot easier when you're trying to do, just find a list someplace, copy and paste it into your first option, and it should populate the list.
Jumping up and down because of all the goofballs trying to.
Yeah, you have to be on your question. Choose your question number. You don't want multiple people. If that's already colored in, choose a different one. So, for example, who did number 7 here? Accident by. Who did this one?
That's me. I just did accident one.
Okay. All right.
Go down about 3. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so you just took it off the sidebar, right?
Yeah.
You just took it off the sidebar. So you're seeing it's populating.
If you scroll down.
Someone posting.
Right.
And I took out the images and you just selected the title.
Okay, so
If you go down to right, there is a problem. So if they're in like rows, it does
Right.
the whole row. It has to be columns.
yeah, it has to be columns. So you'll only populate a column,
Yeah.
right? It won't populate a row. So row it assumes is a single piece of data. However, you can change that with a transpose feature. Okay. Let's just go now to. I'm just going to give you a Google Doc here. And again, I hope you see I'm kind of you're making the curriculum here. I'm just trying to show you ideas and so forth, but because I want to make this relevant to you rather than making just kind of go lockstep through things. And I'm hoping this is useful for you.
Actually, I had a question.
Okay, just a second. Let me just do this right here. So let's say I copy this in here to right here, and I paste it in there. Oops, no, that's not going to work. All right. Let's say I find a table of elements. Okay. Okay.
Well, that one's harder than it looks.
Now I'm trying to find something here which is going to be a it's going to be a grid. Okay, actually I'll just do this right here real simply with something here so you can see. Okay. So let's assume, okay, that was it Verity was using this? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to share this with you. Okay, go ahead and take a look at your. All right. Go ahead and get your Gmail and just accept this one. Your editor's on this. When you open it up, just make a copy. So you're all working with the same thing. Okay, so everybody's working the same copy. So let's say your data is not in the fashion that you want. Like Verity has all these data and she wants to be able to flip it around. Okay, everybody should make a copy. Is everybody working on a copy of Untitled? Okay, so click like on A6 or say, and say equals transpose. And then highlight the section that you want to transpose and in parentheses.
Oh. Okay, this is just.
Okay. Okay, so you say equal transpose.
Yeah.
All right.
Then beginning parentheses, then highlight the section you want to transpose,
Okay.
and in parentheses, and it puts it into columns.
That's pretty flat. Always wanted to do that.
Good, nicely.
Yeah.
$75 a night, folks. Tax dollars.
So
That's what this is.
I wish I got $75 from each of you tonight. I don't know where that money's going.
Talk to the kick.
Okay. Now you look at that and you kind of go, oh, okay. So when you're trying to convert your data, let's say your data comes in a particular fashion, which is difficult to graph. Now I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go hit the plus key, so it's a separate sheet. Hit the plus key, and now say equals transpose, parentheses, and go back to sheet 1. Drag the whole section there in parentheses, and now when you hit return, you're on sheet 2, and notice what it does.
Okay, do it again.
Okay, so I put equals, the transposers right here on this sheet, but this was the original data.
Okay.
So let's say your data comes in rows, you want to put it in columns, but you don't want to affect the original data.
Right.
And you could say something like this, equals transpose, and I'm going to put A2, not to E3, but to E3000. So now what happens is that I can accept data as more data comes in, it's going to populate that over there as well. Yeah, just like the row. Okay, like for example, let's say you wanted just to convert a row into a column. Okay, let's put another sheet and say something like this. Okay, let me just delete all that. And just say equals transpose. And then go to sheet 1 and say, all right, yeah, just click on 2 here, A2 colon what? A, and what does that do? All of A, okay? So what it'll do is that more data comes in there, it should, as you start to put that in there and so forth, it should appear over there in, there it is. You can, well, that didn't work actually.
Well, we just said column.
Okay, yeah, right. So, but yeah, I did the wrong thing. I did the wrong set. But the idea is I did the column rather than row. But so there's a situation where Verity wants to populate something. Just simply do a transpose on it, move your stuff in from rows into columns. When you start, the reason I started with spreadsheets is they're fun. I know you kind of, you know, maybe not totally in agreement with me right now. I mean,
If
they're,
you're in different subjects.
right. And you start to populate, well, here you can have authors and books, and then just flip the rows and so forth, and now you have your data presented another way. Okay, let's look at somebody else's stuff here. Okay, that was, who haven't I talked to yet? How about Kurt? Oh, he was just about ready to escape.
Nice try. See, Kara's got your number.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that. I'm getting peripheral vision.
And that's why you're doing our fines.
You do need to drive, okay? Be safe, okay? I can't believe I think he deserves a round of applause for the most dedicated student in 600. Right.
So it's $75 plus $100.
I worked at Mountain View my first year.
Moreno Valley.
I lived
Beyond
there for a
Riverside.
year, and I was like, if you figured whatever.
But you hope to come back here someday, right?
Well, if you guys are going
Yeah,
to
come to Michigan.
the Cube thing in Palm Springs, stop by and say hi.
Exactly.
I'm going.
Can we stay in your house because the hotel's really expensive?
Hey, just have a spreadsheet. I don't know how many people I can get in my apartment.
But I stay in your van.
No, there you go.
Okay.
I have a van.
Oh,
Okay, let's take a look at Kurt's. Let's look at your congressional district demographic information.
that may be something that's already very
Well, it is very readily available, but the thing is that what are you going to do with it?
compare it to look at, like, you know, to look at how demographic info, maybe results in the party or the way that they vote.
Okay. Well, actually, there's some pretty cool stuff out there. How about this? Maps of political donors, donations. Los Angeles.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Okay.
It's all west side probably.
So let's say that because maps have a way of telling some story. Here's I've actually seen this on a website. It was absolutely amazing. You could go down streets, and it was crazy. One whole street would be donating to one political party, and the other whole street just in a different neighborhood, not in the same neighborhood, would be just demonstrating do it to a totally different one. Then you can start to look at the demographics. Unbelievable.
The state keeps track of something like that. You can go down to the state of California. Well, the race linkage is very high, demographic, or like socioeconomic. Yeah.
It's let's see, who in your state has contributed to the majority leader? There we go. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Oh, this is actually not what we're looking for, but it actually goes down to the level of streets, and it's really crazy. But you could try to find this and start to see what the political campaign contributions. Let's see if we can all find this and help him out with this.
Do they know about my $30 I sent to Bernie Sanders? $30, man. That's
Okay.
a contribution.
Okay. Okay. Here's one that says, get local open secrets. Let's see if we can find this. Okay. Select a state. Okay, California. Election cycle 2016. Now there should be a zip. Okay, here we go. Zip code. Okay, 91330, which is Cal State Northridge. All right, and see if we can actually find the map. There's got to be some kind of a map.
Probably all the professors don't do it.
Okay, it's geographic totals and so forth. Yeah, this is large scale and so forth, but it's very cool to see this in terms of the where those contributions and so forth are and actually plot them on a map. Now, that's not going to be of use to anybody else in the classroom and so forth, but the thing which will be useful in this is taking congressional or any kind of data and doing something with it. What I'd like you to do right now, we're going to actually do another activity. So I'm going to pop this in here into our today's agenda. And okay. We've not done air pollution before, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we did.
Did we do air pollution? Okay, great. Let's go back and actually review this because, what's that? Did we do this one?
We all typed in like different hours.
Yeah, did we just do that just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks.
Right, okay, I thought we just done that. So,
Yeah.
but now here's the key thing on this. Okay. Kurt might want to look at this one again and say, okay, everybody plots their data, only here's going to be political data rather than air pollution data. And then when you get the ozone and so forth data like this, this could be all congressional districts and their data on who contributed what percentage contributed. So you can have like a number here in terms of the population, the amount of contributions, then figure out how much was contributed per person. Okay, so a zip code is going to have those other pages even showed. Here's how much was contributed. Now in that zip code, how many people live there? And there's lots of data like that on terms of city data that you can find. And then you can do a calculated category on political contributions per person, per capita, and see how it corresponds. And then you could even break it down by political party. But the cool thing is, you can then start to graph it, not by hour of the day, but by what?
Well, political season.
Okay, political season, zip code, primaries, political party. You can do all sorts of things depending upon what your particular goal is in terms of trying to get the students to see this. Now, if anybody else is interested in doing something where they're trying to look at the city data, I want to show you a database which is really quite amazing in terms of just understanding your community right here. And this you may find useful. Okay, so I'd like you to go to the page called city-data.com. Go ahead and just put city-data.com. All right. Now put in your city, okay, and you can put in a zip. So let's say I put in 91330, the zip code for the university. Now, yeah, start looking through this and just scan and see the information, how this is all linked. Because now this might be very useful for some of you when you're trying to help understand your communities. You're getting the students to understand the communities. Notice you have everything from real estate property here to population distribution.
Yeah.
Now, why is 91330 95% are never married?
Because it's all students.
It's the dormitories. Okay, it's the only ones that get on that. Okay. Okay. Now, as you scroll down here, look at it. Happens to be just there's your precinct. It's just the Cal State Northridge ones. But now look at that map. And what does the color mean on this map here? It's your income, right? Okay, so when you look at this, now this is kind of interesting. Let's say you're trying to understand a community. Okay, where does it look like? Okay, the darker the color, what does that tell you? The darker, okay, more cash. All right. What is this area right up here? Porter Ranch, where the gas leak was, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Is that all the rich people?
not anymore.
Well, there's some pretty rich people here. Okay, but notice, like my son teaches at Granada Hills High School. It draws from this area. Okay. Well, Kennedy High School draws from this area here. They're right next to it. There is a huge difference between the performance of Granada Hills High School and Kennedy High School. And that can't just be attributed to the educational staff. Because one of the, what's that?
I said I take offense.
Sorry. All right, but the point is that, I mean, you do draw from, you know, from pretty affluent communities. What's that? Okay, yeah, and we'll be finishing in about 45 minutes, so don't worry. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Norm Harris, your turns are funny, man.
Now, scrolling through this,
This is amazing.
look at the data that you can pull up on this. Here's the years the houses were built, the bedrooms and renter occupied. So as you're scrolling through this, you can find out more information about your community than you probably ever wanted to know. Where does this data coming from?
Now, I was gonna ask, what's that, and what supports the website?
What's that?
What supports the website and where does it come from?
Well, it's coming from lots of different sites, obviously aggregated to this one site. This is a classic mashup, which is using a variety of different data sets to put this in.
Sure.
So as Kurt's doing this right here, and maybe he's trying to graph local politics, trying to, you know, you can look at political contributions, you can look at this other type of stuff, try to correlate. Is there any kind of, Kurt, is there any kind of relationship between, you know, any of these factors and voting patterns?
Oh, absolutely. Education, income, they all affect turnout, they all affect, you know, party affiliation.
Right. So the question right here is, rather than just telling them what the conclusion is, what should Kurt be having them do? Take their own data and make their own conclusions. You get the difference? Because the key thing here is not just telling them that people in a particular profile vote a particular way, but they're discovering how they vote or how they contribute and so forth based upon what?
A million factors.
Some factors, and try to figure out what those most important factors are. I think it'd be a very interesting study, and it would make your civics class, I think, very engaged. So he has to find some websites which have the relevant information, have the students get that information, then start to do some kind of graph in terms of this. In fact, you know, to try to find the right type of a plot. Okay, let's look at. We'll do one more person here, just as kind of for closing. Who have I not picked on yet?
The iPhone.
Okay, I think I've got everybody, but I haven't gotten Mark.
Well, yeah, the heart rate, I knew that's kind of like your guys.
Okay.
But that one is quite different.
All right. Okay, everybody, get your phone out. Okay. And I'd like you to download here. Not the heart rate app. Just type in there accelerometer.
Yeah,
Right.
accelerometer.
Okay, we've used a different one before. There's the physics toolbox, I think. Did we use physics toolbox?
That one is venereal.
Okay.
proprietary.
Okay, so,
The one I
or-
use is Wavefront.
okay.
I don't know if they're still.
There's sensor kinetics. There's lots of them. Okay. I'm using one right here. Let's go ahead.
It actually will give you numbers, it'll numerically detect the output of the accelerometer. In other words, it'll give you a table of XYZ values that the chip is receiving in time, which you can then use if you hook the phone onto a little flash or something like that.
Okay, so you get
Depends
now.
what Norm finds, 'cause he-
Okay,
let's see what he
here's
does.
an accelerometer. Okay, now.
That's it, yeah. Or
All
something
right,
like
here there's one like this. Everybody get an accelerometer? Okay, now again, this is going to be really useful for science. I think it could be useful for math teachers as well, because acceleration is meters per what? Second squared, okay? So when you're going to try to teach quadratics and so forth, you're trying to say, well, what's the significance of quadratics? Acceleration is one of the common things you talk about. So you could have them all now in a math class doing something like this where they're actually measuring their acceleration.
And actually, which app did you just obtain?
Why is it Zach?
Okay, this is called just accelerometer.
Just,
And then if you get a calculus, the derivatives,
Right.
second derivatives,
Yeah.
addition,
It's all there. Now, if we start measuring,
go backwards, do intervals.
okay? So now,
Yeah.
just rest it on the desktop. And this should tell you something significant,
Swipe it into
It's
me.
still moving.
okay?
well, it's,
This is the accelerometer. You have yours running now? Okay.
Yes,
yeah,
Now, what's the acceleration in the z direction on mine?
-1.
What does that mean?
well, let's see.
The,
Oh, right, yes. Turn it over.
Okay, the acceleration, okay, it's accelerating, it's experiencing 1g force, okay? So the -1. Okay, -1g, what is 1? The acceleration due to gravity. Now, I'd like you to experience what 1g is in the other dimension. So if you move this around, try to get it at about, try to move it around till you get 1g, and so you can kind of,
It happens when you suddenly stop.
right, if you move it, you'll see the acceleration.
It's like a
But
roller coaster.
the cool thing here is to show the graph,
Jump, jump,
okay? Because now what we can do is we can start to, we can stop the measuring, and then we can start the measuring again and show the graph of that as we start to do some kind of manipulation with this and so forth. We can actually start to plot that versus time. Now, there are so many sensors in this. We've worked with the blood pressure sensor and so forth. Again, I'd like you just to kind of, for our last thing here, is click on the web page, the class web page, and click over on the left where it says apps for teaching. And anybody who's doing the math and science in particular, particularly science, but math to agree as well. Here's all the free sensors I have on my phone right here. So if you want to, we've done the heart rate, but these are all different types of sensors. And I'm just going to show you one that is particularly cool. So these are almost all those are free with the exception of this one right here.
because that's an actual physical entity.
Oh my gosh, there's so many more.
Yeah, the question is, what I want to be able to do is download the accelerometer data to a spreadsheet.
Yeah, you might need to find a new one that does that.
Because technically, it wouldn't really be CSCL if I didn't.
Correct. You want to have some kind of a collaborative data analysis.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's another cat and whiz bang. What's it gonna do?
Okay.
What is that?
Oh no, thermal.
See, thermal.
This one can be used on
Oh, he's gonna militarize this whole class.
Okay.
You show them how hot I am.
Okay.
We'll send it out there.
Is that qualitative or quantitative
I
data?
make very poor jokes at the end of the day.
It's seeking Tinder.
It's to keep you.
Yeah, the phone's
Start seeking phone.
Data. Don't forget to enter your visits.
Okay.
Oh, he's pointing right at Kyle.
That's not registered.
What a setup.
It's up.
What?
It doesn't see.
That's
Hold on a
because your
second.
heart stopped.
Now, hold on.
minutes ago.
I'm almost 20. I'll be there.
I'm just going to start that again. Let's just start that again there. Okay, so here's,
See?
See the.
okay, now, okay. Let's start to,
My face is red.
all right.
My glasses are gold.
Now, let's just take a look at this.
My glasses are gold.
Okay, what does this tell you about Foddy?
My glasses are gold.
Your glasses are not necessarily cold. Everybody's glasses What does that tell you? This is a major, this, and notice his helmet. His helmet's pretty cool, right? Okay, because it's insulated, right? Take your helmet. Can you see the heat spots through his helmet? So now I can move this, and so like the helmet's at about 62. Wow. His forehead's there at about 75 as the surface temperature. His glasses are 68. What you're seeing there is the greenhouse effect. You ever been in a greenhouse?
Oh. Well, yeah. What do you mean?
Well, here's the idea: is that short wavelength radiation goes through the glass. Okay? It's absorbed, but if it's re-radiated, it can't get back out. So what's happening, like in Fadi's, what's happening right here is the heat from Fadi's face, the infrared radiation cannot do what?
Penetrate the glass.
Cannot penetrate the glasses. So the warmest place, now if we take him off and watch his eyes, do you see him? Okay? You see his eyes are hot? The reason his eyes are hot, don't put your glasses back on again. Okay, right now, he's illustrating global warming, okay? Because rather than glass, the Earth has CO2, right?
Sure.
The CO2 doesn't allow the infrared radiation to get out. Now watch when he takes off his glasses. You see how it's hotter right where his eyes are? It's hotter because his glasses were re-radiating that light back towards his face. And you'll see this when anybody wears glasses. When they sweat, they'll sweat first right around the eyes because the infrared radiation can't
It's
get
like
back.
80 degrees around.
Yeah, your eyes are,
They're
Well, how much is this one?
This one's not cheap. This one's a few $100, a couple $100. But the point here is that there's many apps. Then you can get these apps just to plug into your phone to measure different types of things. So like you could get remote apps for temperature, for other types of things which you might want to measure, and you can collect them all on the phone. Yeah.
Is there a way to convert a regular old digital camera into this?
No. This is pretty high tech.
This is different than just making it
Yeah.
infrared.
Okay, so before we go, just a reminder that what are you going to be doing next week? You're doing your CSCL lessons, so I encourage you just to hang around here afterwards. Give each other some help the next 2 times because you're meeting for Brian's class anyway. And the thing is that you're going to want to have all these harbored in a website, kind of like that air pollution one. You can see there's all the information, textual information that starts them off. Then some kind of collaborative, interactive type of resource where they're starting to work with what all the different types of things we've used. So, so the next 2 times you'll be doing that, and again, there's a review video and so forth right there. You don't, I mean, if you're really comfortable with it, you don't need to review it, obviously, but it's there because there's.
Any lessons about choice?
Well, you're going to do 3 lessons, and remember that they aren't going to be necessarily perfected by the time we come back together again.
So 3 lessons over the 3 times. So
Yes.
1 lesson per time.
Well, you're going to be developing 3 CSCL lessons for the end of the semester, but I want them to be in. I want them to be in pretty good form by the time I come back. Yeah.
You want them like on a subpage on our master's?
Yeah. So exactly. Actually, on your CSCL site. Okay. So here's the remember we copied some over before, but here's kind of the idea, like the one we just did with the chemistry. You go there to the air pollution, and anybody looks this up, they have all the links, the pictures, and so forth that they need. So you're creating it on a web page and hosting it. It's not just Google Docs. It has to be on a web page.
And you want us to go and put them on our CSCL
Websites, right. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, I'd like you to start using them in the class. That's the bottom line.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Whole
not in
point.
my class. I'm turning my own into my curriculum. So
Good.
everything I'm doing,
Don't
that's
forget to put your
my.
numbers in, people.
Oh, yeah, Crystal wants to see the numbers.
I just,
What
I'm
numbers?
getting up on you.
curious.
Getting close.
Oh, yeah, you got 17.
Oh, yes, analytics. Put your Google Analytics numbers in.
So you want us
okay.
to do that the next couple weeks?
Yes, yeah, keep doing that. Keep putting
We'll
your,
have to do it for spring break.
every, yes, all the way through. Just keep putting them in week by week.
Every week.
Okay?
Don't worry, I'll put everyone. I'm just kidding with a screenshot of yours. Right now I'm at 17.2.
Did you get out of class?
Yeah. Sitting down there.
Okay.
Since I ever have some late, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not a striker.
Wait,
I know, for somebody who is writing, he did. And then when he was quality, I talked to you and you had to change. I know it did, but I thought the paper was. Yeah.
I know it's upstairs, the decoration, so it's even able to find it.
I know because it was like, yeah, I'm like, I think he can order it. I thought I was gonna do it short, but there was one.
Oh, well, it's not
That was on Craigslist.
Okay.
Yeah, it really is like.
I never knew it was that.
I didn't realize how late.
I was watching you and I was like, what happened? You always think you're busy and
Well, I think things will slow down.
I wasn't using it.
Oh,
And then I started here, I built the plus.
Wow. You gotta wrap each piece in sock and I teach that.
Mine's kind of fake though, because I'm using my whole move.
So we're just trying to make venues all across the board. It's been busy and much more busy and much more stress than we would want. But, you know, life.
You know, I actually need to take this home for my final record stuff. Yeah.
Cheerfully.
I'm trying to think what to do next week.
You don't have to food again for a long time.
And then I'll say.
Yeah, next year.
That's fall.
He's still with us.
So they said it works on
He's
iPad.
able to stand
Yeah,
up.
he's really doing it. I was thinking, I wish I had brought this. There's this place, the guy's broker used to be our
I'm like,
student.
you're on
He's a
iPad.
student.
That's nice.
He makes this sandwich, it's like this table long.
I want to see.
So what would we pay today? Like 2 packs,
Oh, that's.
anything you want. It's like this thick.
You know, far out.
Have fun.
Okay, thank you.
And you take a slice.
Okay. So,
Probably next time we're gonna do that.
that's cool. Been a lot going on.
Okay,
Then
so
make sure that-
he's not even expecting.
It's all good.
No,
Because I'm working on this. Okay, 2 weeks from today is Season's holiday.
next week we come here, then we're off.
Okay.
But then I'm
Well,
gonna
good
go
luck.
take
But,
it to that.
I mean, I think that,
On my holiday.
doing a,
Your
picking up
holiday?
Christian at work.
Yeah, mine's actually 2 weeks. I'm driving to Albuquerque. No, go to Trinity City. So it's the first atomic bomb. Only open once a year. First Saturday of April, every year. You can go to the site.
Next Wednesday night.
Where Oppenheimer and all those guys were.
Yeah, that's
Oh, for it.
Yeah, yeah.
You have classes?
Take some selfies.
Pardon?
Take some selfies.
Yeah, they do like to take pictures at the site.
Sunday, right?
Right, yeah, right. Okay,
And then we'll
Monday.
see.
You go see quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, using their laptops.
Yeah, I think there's two laptops.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
It is the
That's
nature.
just spring. So
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're
Oh,
going.
so this one is the number of taxes are.
Yes.
And then
So
come
we
back.
throw these ourselves or what? We leave them?
Well, you can't make an arm for that.
Oh, which is.
So what's the rule?
I don't see your book.
I think whether we take it with us or check it, one of the two.
But the one who brought it,
Yeah, I'll let everyone grab it. Like I cleaned up that
Something
cooking
like
stuff
that,
from the
but-
letter.
Okay, well, that should be a lot of fun.
no wonder it's still this year.
Yeah.
It's a lot of waste of sauce.
You know, the Saturday and Sunday love it, you know, times for them just at the house and so forth. So
Actually, I wonder if I could
Good times there.
Somebody take that.
You want some?
All right, well, if there's anything.
I gotta wait, thank you
so much, appreciate it. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
thanks a lot.
I'm on a bicycle.
Oh, it's good to see you.
Actually, I can always use this kind of tinfoil for my lap. I'll take the tinfoil. Then I'll fold it.
I don't know what these go, but.
Oh, those go right behind
Right
it.
there.
Yeah.
I wish I had brought the big one then. Sounds like.
Big one what?
We brought only 2 pizzas and,
No, I think it was really the right amount.
I felt bad though.
You would have had 10 slices left over if you got the next size.
Yeah, no, that's good. People
Yeah, if one person only got 1,400 calories instead of 1,600, I mean, you know? I mean, look around you in America, man. What's the number one problem? See? That's why me and Val were really happy last week when our stuff came out really rather precisely.
Thanks.
So
Norm.
this goes in trash, right?
Three small pieces.
What's that?
Of that, distributed.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Is this okay? They know how to.
Okay, not a problem.
Thank you so much. Have a good,
Yeah, it's good
long
stuff.
day.
Okay, thank you, you too.
We will miss you
Okay, all right, you too.
and, congratulations.